Yesterday, we got some shocking news, I would say. This is CNN reporting on this. The United States government has seized dozens of U.S. website domains connected to Iran, linked to what the U.S. says are disinformation efforts, a U.S. national security official told CNN. Some users are not able to access sites like PressTV.com, which is an Iranian state-run English language news outlet. When attempting to access, users are seeing the following message. The domain PressTV.com has been seized by the United States government in accordance with a seizure warrant pursuant to 18 U.S.C. as part of a law enforcement action by the Bureau of Industry and Security, Office of Export Enforcement, and Federal Bureau of Investigation. Iran's semi-official Fars news agency on Tuesday reported the U.S. has blocked the websites of several news agencies, including the Iranian state-run Press TV. Quote, the U.S. administration blocked websites of several news agencies and TV channels, including Press TV, Masira, Al-Alam, and Al-Maloma on Tuesday in a flagrant violation of the freedom of the press, Fars tweeted. Masira is a Houthi-run outlet, and Al-Alam is Iran's, I think that says Arabic news station. Arabic language news station, something like that. So there you have it. Now, I guess, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like when you go to the website. So BNO News shows this here. This website has been seized, and then you can see the seals that are put there and the text. So, listen, this is, I mean, regardless of what you think of Iran, and I have many, many criticisms, this is authoritarian. I mean, that's just what this is. This is deeply, deeply authoritarian. And when other countries do similar things, we call it authoritarian. You know, when China bans Facebook, we're like, that's super authoritarian. What are you doing? If Russia bans U.S. stuff, we're like, that's fucking authoritarian. Iran bans U.S. stuff, and they do, by the way. That's authoritarian. But here we are doing it, and they come up with they say some bullshit. Like, if you read the statute, and I did, but I'm forgetting it now, the statute that they quote, like, hey, here's why we're doing it, 18 U.S.C., part of law enforcement action. It's like, it has something to do with, like, there's a national emergency. Really? What's the emergency? What's going on? What's going on where it was so important you take it down now? I don't know what their reasoning is, but this does happen to coincide at the exact same time Ibrahim Raisi was elected, and he's a religious fundamentalist, he's a conservative, he's a hardliner, as they call him, and Hassan Rouhani was a moderate. So hardliner is replacing a moderate. When the moderates are in power, even though we've had terrible relations with Iran and it's our fault, the moderates are more open-minded, more tolerant, more willing to work with people. The hardliners are not. In fact, Raisi said, I'm not going to meet with Biden. Get back in the nuclear agreement. How about you do that? You guys broke it. You get back in it. I'm not saying anything to you. It's on you to get back in it. That's it. So as soon as he made those comments, it was very soon thereafter that they did this, that they seized Press TV and other outlets. And again, Houthi-linked outlets, so that has to do with Yemen, the Shia group that has taken over Yemen. And, I mean, listen, call it what it is. It's flagrantly authoritarian, and it really is, you don't believe in open dialogue and free speech. Now, don't get me wrong, are you going to get a biased perspective from Iranian TV, Iranian news? Of course you are. But you also get a biased perspective when we have the BBC playing here. You get their perspective. You also get a biased perspective when you turn on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. Fox News represents the Republican arm of the establishment. MSNBC represents the Democratic arm of the establishment. CNN represents just the establishment. You know, whether it's a corporate outlet, whether it's a state-run outlet, everybody's got a perspective. There is no such thing as perfect objectivity. You can strive to be objective, and there's a difference, by the way, between neutrality and objectivity. They're not the same thing. Objectivity is telling the truth all the time. But even, like, I try my best to be objective about everything, but that doesn't mean that I don't have certain views and opinions that are a unique filter that I see the world through. Everybody has a filter. Everybody has beliefs. Everybody has ideas. Everybody has thoughts. Nobody's a robot and is perfectly objective. So, I mean, this is, by this logic, we can ban stuff that Iran is broadcasting. By that logic, you can also ban stuff Russia is broadcasting. You can also ban stuff, forget just our official state enemies. You can do it with our allies. You could ban every perspective that's not what? Only Americans are allowed to talk in the United States of America, are allowed to broadcast in the United States of America, and you don't see a problem with that? I mean, this is the type of stuff that we pretend we're in favor of freedom, we're in favor of democracy, we're in favor of rights, we're in favor of open discourse and dialogue, and then we go and do something like this. And this is the exact opposite of that. There's no spinning it. You can't do these, high-minded, self-important lectures of the world about freedom and justice and rights and liberty and equality and then turn around and do shit like this. You can't do it. I mean, even if the things they say are super biased in their direction, you still should allow it. Of course. Of course. And also, I don't want to let us off the hook too much either, because they use the words, I love this. What? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me pull it up again. The words that they used are disinformation. Was it like flagrant disinformation? Let me get the exact words. No, they just say disinformation efforts. So Iran's doing disinformation efforts. What was it called when every mainstream media outlet in the U.S. pushed the Iraq war? By the way, we later learned it was based on complete lies. So we pushed a war based on lies. Would you call that disinformation efforts? And based on that, should you ban all of the mainstream media outlets in the U.S.? Take CNN off the air, MSNBC off the air, Fox News, all of them? By the way, don't answer that. I know a lot of you are like, yes, do that. No, as much as I hate them, they should be able to exist. But why not? Why not? Was it not a disinformation effort when they pushed Russiagate, which turned out there was no there, and they couldn't get Trump on anything involving Russia? They were able to get a lot of people in his orbit for corruption and other things. Good, I'm happy they did. They didn't get anything on Russia. He's not Putin's puppet like they were saying. Was that a disinformation effort? Should they be pulled down as a result of that? Was it a disinformation effort when they tried to cover up the 2016 stealing of the primary from Bernie Sanders? Was that a disinformation effort? Is it a disinformation effort when they go after Julian Assange when Julian Assange was telling everybody the truth and leaking information that everybody had a right to know, like our government was killing civilians and journalists overseas? Is that a disinformation effort when you try to silence him? When Edward Snowden has to hide overseas in order to be free, even though he's a hero who exposed illegal NSA spying, is that a disinformation effort when everything said about him on U.S. media is negative? Is oftentimes a lie? Is that a disinformation effort? So when we do disinformation, it doesn't count as disinformation because we're us. And so what we do is okay by definition. When they do it, oh my God, pull them down, ban them, it's over, can't allow it. It's ridiculous. And by the way, dare I say, when it comes to the issue of the Iranian nuclear agreement, their retelling of events is way more accurate than ours. Because it's true, we violated the deal, we pulled out of it. Joe Biden said, I'm going to get back in it, and then he didn't get back in it yet. Trump ruined the deal. Biden said he's going to get back in, he hasn't got back in yet. If they explain those things, those are facts. So, I mean, in other ways, I'm sure they're biased. Of course, they're going to defend the regime in Iran across the board. Their deep social conservatism and stuff. I'm sure that's what they do. But is that a reason to ban them? No. None of these should be banned. So this is deeply authoritarian. Everybody needs to be against it. And you're not going to hear anybody say anything about this. The same people that crow about freedom of the press, and they went after, remember that? They would go after Trump because Trump said something mean about Brian Stelter or whatever. Oh my God, he's cracking down on the free press. Now, I'm sure Trump would, if he had the authority, he would have cracked down on the free press, so I'm not giving him a pass. But the same people that crowed about freedom of the press, they're not going to say anything about the U.S. government banning entire stations. This doesn't count because of reasons and stuff and things, because it's propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda from every perspective you can imagine, and we allow it all because that's what freedom is. And it's up to you to sort of weed through it and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't. But no, they're only banning specific kinds of propaganda. So this is pathetic. This is dumb. They absolutely should reverse it, and we'll see what happens.